Last night, while the world was asleep and silence covered everything around you, a message was spoken that never appeared on your phone, never arrived in your inbox, and yet somehow found its way to your heart. It was not written with ink or typed on a screen. It was carried through hope, through memories, and through emotions that refused to disappear. Your soulmate whispered words they have been holding back for far too long. They wished you could hear them, but they believed the distance between you was still too great. What they never realized was that some messages do not travel through ordinary paths. They travel through moments you cannot explain, those sudden thoughts that interrupt your day, those dreams that feel more real than reality, those unexplained emotions that appear without warning. Last night was different. Something shifted. A wall that had been standing between two hearts became weaker than ever before. And if you have been feeling restless since waking up today, there may be a reason that goes far beyond coincidence. Don't skip. The words they wanted to tell you were not simple. They carried a truth so deep that it has the power to change the way you see every delay, every unanswered question, and every strange feeling that has followed you until this very moment. But before that message can be fully understood, you need to know why they waited so long to speak at all. For a long time, your soulmate believed silence was safer than honesty. Every time they thought about reaching out, fear whispered that it was too late. Every memory of you made their heart softer, yet every doubt convinced them to stay quiet just a little longer. They watched life continue while secretly wondering if your heart still remembered them in ways your mind could not explain. There were nights when they almost gave up on the idea that your paths would ever truly cross again. But last night became the turning point they never expected. Something inside them finally broke, not in sadness, but in clarity. They realized that love hidden forever is love never truly shared. In that quiet moment, they imagined sitting across from you with nothing left to hide. They imagined saying the words they rehearsed 1,000 times but never had the courage to speak. I never stopped caring. I never forgot the light you brought into my life. Even when I smiled in front of everyone else, there was always a part of me searching for you. Those words carried no pride, no excuses, and no expectations. They carried only truth. But then something even more unexpected happened. Instead of feeling fear, they felt peace, as though the message had already begun its journey toward you. They could not explain why. They simply knew that somehow, in some mysterious way, your heart would receive what your ears had not yet heard. Stay till the end, because the next piece of their message reveals the one sentence they never believed they would be brave enough to admit, and once you hear it, every strange sign from the past may suddenly make perfect sense. The deepest part of last night's message was never about regret. It was about hope that refused to disappear. Your soulmate finally understood that some connections survive silence because they were built on something stronger than circumstances. They wanted you to know that every moment apart taught them the true value of what they almost lost. They stopped blaming time. They stopped blaming distance. Instead, they started becoming the person they wished they had been all along. While the world saw ordinary days passing, they were quietly changing in ways no one else noticed. They learned patience where they once rushed. They found gratitude where they once complained. They discovered courage where fear had always spoken the loudest. And through all those changes, one thought remained constant: you. Not as an obsession, not as a fantasy, but as someone whose presence left a permanent mark on their heart. Last night they finally whispered, "If our story is meant to continue, I will no longer run from it. I will meet it with honesty, kindness, and faith." Those words may never have reached your ears directly, yet something inside you may already be responding to them without realizing why. Perhaps that unexpected feeling of calm today is not random. Perhaps the hope returning to your heart has a source you cannot yet see. Or perhaps this is only the beginning of a message that is far greater than either of you imagined. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what they revealed last night was only the first chapter, and the next message they are preparing to send carries a secret so unexpected that it could transform everything you believed about your connection forever. There was one sentence your soulmate almost refused to admit, even to themselves. It stayed hidden behind every smile, every distraction, and every day they pretended they had moved on. But last night, in the quietest moment of all, they could no longer hide from the truth. They whispered, "No matter how far life has taken us, a part of my heart still looks for yours." That realization did not arrive suddenly. It was built through countless ordinary moments that unexpectedly reminded them of you. A familiar song. A peaceful sunset. A place they once imagined visiting with someone special. Every small reminder became another piece of a message they could no longer keep inside. Then something happened that completely changed their perspective. Instead of asking why everything took so long, they began asking what those years had been preparing them for. The answer came gently. They were becoming someone capable of protecting the love they once only dreamed about. Every delay had been teaching patience. Every disappointment had been building compassion. Every unanswered question had been shaping wisdom. The story was never falling apart, it was quietly coming together in ways neither of you could have understood before. If these words are touching your heart, take a second to like this video so more people searching for hope can discover it too. Share it with someone who still believes meaningful connections are worth waiting for. And if messages like this bring you peace, subscribe so you never miss what comes next. But don't look away now, because the next part of last night's message revealed something so unexpected that even your soulmate was left speechless. They realized that the greatest obstacle was never distance, timing, or circumstances. It was the fear that they had already missed their chance. For so long they believed silence had erased every possibility, but last night they understood something remarkable. Genuine feelings do not disappear simply because time passes. They mature. They become quieter, deeper, and more honest. That realization filled them with a kind of peace they had never experienced before. Suddenly, they stopped imagining everything that could go wrong and began imagining what could finally go right. They pictured a conversation where nothing needed to be hidden. No masks. No pride. No pretending everything was fine. Just two hearts speaking with complete honesty. They imagined saying, "Thank you for changing my life, even in ways you never knew." They imagined admitting, "The lessons I learned while missing you made me a better person." Those thoughts were not built on fantasy. They came from a heart that had finally stopped running from its own truth. At that very moment, it felt as though something invisible shifted. The weight they had carried for so long became lighter. Hope returned, not because they suddenly knew the future, but because they finally trusted that every meaningful story unfolds at the right moment. And perhaps the most surprising part of all is this. While they were finding peace, your own heart may have been quietly sensing the same change without even knowing why. Sometimes two lives begin moving toward the same destination long before either person realizes it. That is why certain days feel different for no obvious reason. They are gentle reminders that not everything important can be explained. Some things are simply felt before they are seen. Now comes the part they never imagined they would have the courage to believe. Last night's message did not end with longing. It ended with a promise they silently made to themselves. They promised that if life gave them another opportunity, they would not waste it by holding back. They would choose honesty over fear, patience over rushing, and gratitude over regret. They finally understood that real love is not about perfect timing, it is about becoming the right person when the moment finally arrives. That realization changed everything inside them. Instead of wondering whether the future would be kind, they began preparing themselves to recognize it when it appeared. And perhaps that is exactly why you found this message today. Not by accident, but at a moment when your own heart was ready to hear it. There are connections that survive because they are built on respect, growth, and unwavering hope. Those connections are not weakened by silence. They are strengthened by everything both people learn while waiting. Before this message ends, tell me in the comments, do you believe some hearts are meant to find each other, no matter how long the journey takes? Your answer might encourage someone who has almost stopped believing. Keep watching, because what comes next uncovers the unmistakable signs that this silent message is no longer just a feeling, it may already be becoming reality in ways you have not noticed yet.